and welcome to the Referencing podcast. I'm Megan and a fourth year business management student and PALS leader at QMU, and I'm here with my colleague Bethan.
Hi, I'm Bethan. I'm a film and media student going into my fourth year, and I'm also a PALS leader at QMU.
So, today we are going to be chatting about how to reference, keeping track of your sources, plagiarism, and how to use the similarity checker tool on the hub. So I think just first of all, we just want to emphasize the importance of using the Cite Them Right guide. So I think in first year, you maybe don't realize the importance of referencing and citing, but as you hand in more assignments, you realize that referencing is a really easy way to get marks if you do it right. So there's really no excuse not to be referencing properly. And the Cite Them Right guide is a really useful way to do this. So what I like to do is when I'm writing assignments, I like to just have my Cite Them Right guide open at all times, just so I know that I'm keeping track of my sources and they're getting referenced correctly.
Yeah, I think definitely having that open the entire time is definitely very useful because it will take you through everything you need to know about referencing at QMU, what the standard is, what they're expecting, and particularly what kind of sources come under that. So it'll show a variety of different sources, and then it will show you exactly what to do for each source. So, for example, books, journal articles, online websites, DVDs, things like that. There's a variety of things you can source for a bibliography, and it shows you exactly how to write them out, and it also tells you how exactly to put them in within your main body text as well. So definitely having that open the entire time, and it's vital to reference within essays majority of the time. There's not many assignments you'll do at uni, course depending, that won't require you to reference. And as Megan says, it's an easy way to pick up marks. And if you can get that down right, it's something you don't have to worry about, and you can just continue to worry about your content and then just reference as you go along.
And I think if you listen to our academic skills podcast, we touched on this as well, but
Yeah.
keeping a record of your references and what information you have collected from each is so important because you could end up wasting a lot of time for yourself if you forget to do this. For example, if you find a really great quote but then can't remember where you've got it from, you then won't be able to use it. So that's really important to sort of keep in track of exactly what information you get from what reference. And although it may seem like a lengthy process, I would definitely recommend referencing as you go along as well and making a note of what was in the literature, but putting this in your own words. I find that if I put it in my own words from the very start, the information can go straight into my assignment and it saves you from making any plagiarism errors when you submit as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest parts of essay writing is putting references into your own words, because sometimes you get to a word and you cannot for the life of you think what else to put in there or how else to phrase what the authors wrote. So definitely, but there's a variety of sources that you can use to help you along with this. Like you can use the thesaurus if you're using Word and things like that. You can look up other synonyms of the word, things like that if you're particularly stuck on that word. And then if it's phrasing as a whole, just make sure you're taking the time to put that into your own words, because obviously there's major plagiarism issues that can come up if you don't do that.
Yeah, and I sometimes find even if it's not a perfect sentence, even just trying to put it in your own words in the simplest terms, and then maybe as you go along when you're putting it in your assignment, you can make it sound better. There's always times for you to rephrase it again, as long as you get the main points down on paper as you go. Again, just keeping a reference list drafted that can be pasted right into your assignment document. And also sometimes I think proofreading the reference list can sometimes be something that's overlooked,
Mhm.
whereas you never know if you've misplaced a capital letter or a full stop. So I think it's also important to not forget about your reference list when you're focusing on proofreading your assignment as well.
Yeah, there's been times that I've gone back to my bibliography and then realised I haven't put the author's name in complete capital letters, things like that. It's such an easy thing to overlook referencing, so definitely take the time to do that at the end is a major thing, I would say.
Yeah, and also make sure that everything that you've cited is included in your reference list too. That's something that
Yeah.
easy mistake to make as well.
Another easy mistake, make sure it's in alphabetical order as well. Your sources, make sure they're all structured correctly. You need to have them in order of the author's last name and then alphabetical from there. So
Yeah, and sometimes again that comes down to proofreading, but what helps me when I'm making sure that I've referenced everything that I've cited in my assignment is with the document that I've got all my research and references, I highlight what information I've put in my assignment already, so I know what information I still need to include, but also what references I have included as well. So it just helps to keep track of what citations that you've got in your assignment and those that you still need to include.
yeah, I think your idea about having them in a different document's a good idea as well. If you can separate that from your essay, it can make things look a bit less overwhelming. And you can also focus on referencing at a different point, so you don't have to do everything all at once in one document. And then just it's a case of copying and pasting that into your actual assignment document. Just make sure you remember to do that. It's definitely don't submit your essay without your bibliography, but having that in a different tab would might be a nice idea as well, if that maybe would help you a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. And also about plagiarism, something that I didn't realise until well into my second semester of first year is that there's actually a similarity checker on the hub that gets put up on your hub site.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like your assignment Dropbox. So you can put your assignment into the similarity checker tool and it'll scan your work and highlight sort of any bits that are similar to any other pieces of work in the database, which is quite useful.
Yeah, I think obviously plagiarism's a big important thing to avoid. I'm sure no one's really setting out to plagiarize because it would be very easy to get caught. But using the similarity checker is a big way to make sure that you've not made any mistakes or that there's not maybe something that's a bit too similar to your work that could get flagged. I think it's 15%. I think it needs to be under. So definitely keep an eye out for that and making sure you leave time at the end to let the similarity checker have a scan of your document before you actually submit it is definitely a good idea. Right, so well, thanks for listening to this little short podcast on referencing. We hope it's been useful. Be sure to check out our academic skills podcast for a more in-depth look on how assignments work at QMU and maybe a bit more tips on that. And definitely check out the PALS sessions we have planned for both academic skills and referencing as well. So yeah, thanks for listening.